Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It is Monday, August the 9th, 2021. We are coming on live here on Point Discussion exclusively on the Lounge Room Network in the midst of a bit of a pretentious situation down in the Chicagoland area right now. Chicago is, or not even Chicago, but just the suburbs and some of the counties kind of to the west and northwest of the city are dealing with multiple tornadoes on the ground. And it just happens to be that one of those tornadoes actually touched down in the small town of Sycamore, Illinois. And right now there are multiple reports of buildings that are damaged. There is destruction. Earlier this evening, I was looking at the radar scans, the velocity scans, and the one thing that obviously I don't like to see on those is debris, and there was plenty of debris being picked up in that storm. So unfortunately, there has been damage reported. Now, I have never done this here live on the show, but I want to do it right now if it'll let me. Otherwise, I'll just look really dumb and we'll just move on. But I was going to share my screen with you guys. I don't know if it's going to let me, however. Unfortunately, yes, it is. It will let me. All right. On Point Discussion for the first time ever, sharing a screen here with all of you who are watching. This is the current radar scan coming out of Chicago, the National Weather Service, of course. This radar is courtesy of RadarScope. No, we are not sponsored by RadarScope. This is just the courtesy radar. So 2 tornado warnings right now as we speak here. It is about we're approaching 7 o'clock, 7:05 p.m. 2 tornado warnings in the Chicagoland area. If you are at the Cubs and Brewers game tonight in the city of Chicago, I would be cautious. I don't think they've announced that they're going to cancel the show, the game. But I would be weary of the weather out there because it can change. It can change very rapidly. And again, if you are going to that Cubs and Brewers game on the north side, I would be careful with just ever-changing weather conditions out there. So I'll leave you guys with that. That is just the weather scan. Again, the weather radar as we speak right now. And I hope everyone out there, of course, stays safe. But in the meantime, On Point Discussion for tonight on this otherwise fine Monday afternoon. Wyatt and Julius are here with me at the Cornelius 7 and at the Fifth Top, respectively. Yours truly at Lounge Room Prez 1. Remember to follow the page at Talks on Point, and of course, follow the network page at Lounge Room Net. Gentlemen, happy Monday. Happy start to your work week. How are you guys doing tonight? Julius, go ahead. What's going on?
I am doing swell on this lovely, hot, humid, 102-degree Monday in Texas. And I just want to offer my condolences to anybody affected by any severe weather. We've had a lot of it, I feel, lately, and this year all over the country. And it's always disheartening to see when it just affects communities like that. I really appreciate you, Juan, using your knowledge and your meteorology background to inform. And that helps a lot of people you might not even know, but it does.
I really appreciate that. It's doing this, right? This weather, weather stuff and the coverage. Again, I don't want to dive too much into it, but it has its really fun moments, of course. Learning about the development of storms and the integrate, just so much that goes into the building of just a basic thunderstorm. And obviously, as a trained weather spotter, we get hyped up. We're like, oh, a severe weather day, and I'm guilty of it. But then, like I was just saying a few minutes ago, right, when I look at the radar, I see this debris ball basically on radar, and I see that stuff is actually getting picked up and destroyed. That's when reality kind of takes, sets in again. And it's like, all right, there's people's livelihoods are being destroyed. There's damage being done. And I pray to God that there are no deaths. Again, this is an ongoing situation. There are still tornado warnings in Chicagoland, but I'm hoping that people are able to heed the warnings and go and take necessary shelter. So, but thank you, Julius. I do appreciate that, of course. Wyatt, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing good, man. Lost my voice today. No, well, my throat hurts from talking too much, but Me and Julius, I believe, one of the times you weren't able to join us on the show, we talked about you were on the show. We talked about natural disasters and how they're really scary. And we talked about our fear for natural disasters, but definitely like tornadoes, all those strong winds and stuff, definitely scary. So prayers and thoughts go to people who might be affected by that right now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that was a few weeks back, I believe, that we were having that conversation about just what it means to go through a natural disaster. I think at one point we had said that I think our consensus was just kind of not being in the middle of Tornado Alley, but I think being out west, because there's usually a lot less severe weather. But then again, you also deal with like the wildfires out there and the earthquakes. So it's normally you're gonna get it wherever you go. I mean, that's just the inevitable thing of it, right? But in any case, so we are here to talk about everything that is happening in the world today, from the U.S. Olympic results, gold medals awarded, of course, to the basketball team out there, to the Andrew Cuomo, wow, Cuomo. Governor Cuomo out in New York, and some of the stuff that he's going through. And of course, at the very end here, we'll talk about tailgating, because who doesn't like tailgating, right? And Brandon, breaking news to all of you who are watching. It says the Brewers game in Chicago has been postponed. I was expecting that. I was expecting it, guys. It was inevitable. I mean, I don't think they're going to play when there's literally tornado-warned storms like 30 minutes to their west. I don't think that's going to happen. So Brewers and Cubs game has been postponed, ladies and gentlemen. For those who are watching, it is 7:10 p.m. here in Milwaukee. So let's go ahead and dive right into it, guys. What is happening in New York? Because man, oh man, there is an impeachment process or impeachment hearings. It looks like they're about to begin very soon. Governor of New York is in hot water because he's getting accused. He has been accused of basically sexual misconduct at this point. So whoever wants to open up the discussion, go ahead. I'm gonna just kind of sit back and just wait to see what you guys have to say, because I have my own thoughts, but I want to save them till either of you two get your.
Go ahead, Wyatt.
Okay. So there's been 11 reports, and it's either he groped, kissed, or made suggestive comments to 11 women. So it's clear that he used his power and his authority to try to sexually harass women. This is the everyone calling for his resignation. This should have happened a long time ago, before the sexual misconduct allegations. It should have happened during the pandemic, in the whole what do you guys call them, the older people's homes, when he flubbed that up and he killed a lot of people with the COVID-19 thing. So this is a long time coming for him. He's a snake. He's not good for politics, and he's apparently still trying to fight the resignation and kind of just like taking the long game and hoping it goes away, but it ain't going away. And the sooner he gets out of office, the sooner Gavin Newsom gets out of office, things will be better off, because we have these sleazeballs that think they can do whatever they want and use their power, and they can do no wrong. And it's sickening. And I'm happy that Joe Biden is calling for his resignation. There's a lot of things I don't agree with what Joe Biden's doing, but at least he's doing the right thing by calling for this guy's resignation, because it definitely needs to happen now rather than later.
Seeing a comment in here, and it looks like our buddy Brandon is bringing up the controversy in Michigan, right, where the governor of Michigan, and I don't know if it was Whitmer, if it was Gretchen Whitmer, if it was the previous governor. I have to check on that, but he says that the governor of Michigan did the same thing. Oh, she sent people to their death too. So I'm assuming this is Governor Whitmer that he is referring to. And what you were just talking about, Wyatt, was the nursing home scandal.
Yeah.
Right. Which, again, Governor of New York was basically covering up, I believe it was the numbers of the people who were infected with COVID, if I'm not mistaken. And then somewhere along the line, they were using Michigan, or I mean, excuse me, not Michigan. They were using the numbers to they were inflating numbers or to get more hospital beds in there. I'm not exactly sure how it all happened, but I just know that there was a misrepresentation of data of COVID numbers in those nursing homes. Obviously, still bad. I mean, regardless of how you look at it, right? And that goes for any governor who does that to get resources or to skew factual data, right? It says Brandon says, Michigan had the same policy as New York. Okay, so when it comes to the nursing homes, then I'm assuming that a lot of those same parallels were being drawn between what was happening in the state of Michigan and what was happening out of New York. But Julius, I'll let you go next, sir, because I know you always have plenty of thoughts, and I'm always eager to hear them.
Thank you, Juan. I appreciate that. So Andrew Cuomo is like old school Democrat, Italian from New York. He's like in with the Pelosi's and the Bidens, the Obamas. That untouchable Democrat throne. He's been governor for a long time. He got reelected a couple times, I believe. Him and his buddy Chris be, laughing and joking on CNN every now and then. It's all fun and games, until, we don't talk about the true issues, but it's fun and games when those brothers are live on TV together. But that's neither here nor there. This guy's getting witch hunted right now that's correct, Brandon. His dad was governor. I believe
yes, he was. Yep.
Mario Cuomo. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by all accounts, from my historical, from what I understand, he was a pretty decent governor. And that's most of the reason why his sons have had so much success later in their life. But that's neither here nor there. He's getting witch hunted right now. You know what? The guy seems kind of pervy. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I just get this vibe from him. He might have not done anything that any of these women are saying, but the attorney general in New York hates him enough to come out with this whole report she's been doing for the last 6 months, knowing that it's going to be a nail in the coffin. He seems reluctant to resign. He's like, I'm not going to resign. He's like, you're going to have to kill me. I'm not resigning. So we'll see how this goes if they impeach him or whatever. But either way, he's getting on it. Everybody already called for his resignation, even his homeboys in the Democratic Party, Pelosi, Biden, everybody done called for this guy's resignation. He did a horrible job with COVID. That cannot be understated. I'm glad you said something about it, Wyatt, because it was very heartbreaking what happened to those senior citizens in New York and in Michigan that pretty much got sent to their deaths to die in nursing homes by the tens of thousands. And nobody even talk about them. It's like everybody forgot about it. And Cuomo then came out with a book parading himself like he the COVID savior, and he made one of the worst political and leadership decisions I've ever heard of. So did Whitmer in Michigan. Let it be known. This ain't got nothing to do with politics, but he's getting hunted down by his own people right now, and it's a spectacle. It is. It's a spectacle to watch.
You just hate to see it.
Hate to see it.
Oh no, but it's a very unfortunate situation, right? Because New York is obviously the most, it's the most populated state in our country. Thanks, New York City. A very important state when it comes to, the overall economy of this great nation. This man is literally leading this important powerhouse of a state in the northeast part of the United States. And he is getting accused of all of these horrible things. And one of the things that I've noticed, right, is that you're not really hearing much about it, right? The rumblings aren't as loud as they were, for example, with other news stories on the other side of the aisle, right? So why is that, right? I have an answer. I'm sure people aren't going to like it, but I have an answer. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but and it's funny because Brandon just the doesn't hear because of the party he belongs to. That's exactly why. I mean, you don't really hear much about the stuff that's happening because, again, I hate to say it, but it's, he's a Democrat. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So I don't know. Do you think he'll be impeached? Do you guys think do you think that this is all going to go through and he'll actually get impeached and kicked out of office? Just based on the state of New York, of New York politics.
I don't know, because he seems very reluctant, right? And it ain't like women, when it comes to this, you have to believe them, right? We in this Me Too era, and I'm not believing nobody until I see proof or some kind of evidence in a court of law. Just because you said it don't mean it happened. Just because you said it don't mean it didn't happen. But he seems to know that, almost seems to understand that, this is just words and they can't yank me out of my seat, blah, blah. But you know what? I think he's going to go down eventually, because this seems to be like, every woman on earth, if you're against Cuomo in this situation, you're a woman, you're going to be vilified by the Democratic Party. They're going to vilify you. You best not even say anything, because if you say, well, I don't know, no, if you're a Democrat and you're a woman specifically, they're looking for you to help take this guy down with them, because that's what Democrats do. They're like a mob.
Wyatt, your thoughts on this, Wyatt?
Yeah, I think it goes to impeachment. I don't think he resigns. Brandon made some good points in our chat here about his chief of staff resigned, and then you also have one political party controlling the media right now. But I don't think the Cuomo headline really gets them ratings. Right now it's the anti-vaccine type of thing, as Brandon points out, in my opinion. But yeah, I think, again, it goes to impeachment. He's going to try to hold on for his power and try to prolong it and see if people forget and something new comes along so he can skate by.
Just want to bring an update. I know we're talking about Andrew Cuomo, but for those who are watching, I do apologize. It appears that that Brewers and Cubs game is getting postponed. Excuse me, it's in a delay. It's not completely canceled. So I just wanted to clarify that real quick. Here's the thing, right? Andrew Cuomo in New York I feel like he has so much power, right? I was watching, I forget which show it was right now, but there was a show I was watching, and one of the people who was getting interviewed on that show said that one of her friends had been talking to someone close to Andrew Cuomo, right? And that person had told her, you better watch out. Something to that extent, right? Of kind of almost a threatening gesture, right? Because we don't know how much power this man truly has. How there is so much corruption in the state of New York. Okay, Illinois and New York are horrible when it comes to this kind of stuff. What do they have in common? They're Democrat-run states. That's what it comes down to.
Michigan does too. Michigan does too. And just while we're at it, I just want to fully endorse James Craig for governor of Michigan. I know it's early. I'm just going to throw that out there. Detroit police chief. He's been around. He done made stuff happen. He fixed a lot of stuff in Detroit. And so he's running for governor. Him and Whitmer are pretty much 50-50 right now. Hey, James Craig got my endorsement right here, live on Lounge Room Network. Don't at me. Do not at me. Anybody out there, don't at me.
All of those Justin Field obbies are gonna come at you now for something else that isn't sports related. They're gonna come at you for your endorsement.
Hey! Like you just said, Illinois ain't no better than Michigan in the integrity department of politics. So don't at me.
Yes. I want to. Sorry, were you going to add anything else to this conversation, Wyatt, or this topic before we move on to our next one? Because there's a lot of stuff. Because on this next topic here, I want to Julius, I want to get your perspective specifically because I know you're a former Army man, and of course, thank you for all your service and my deepest respect to you, of course. But the Secretary of Defense, I believe it was, and the Pentagon today announced that by September 15th or September 18th, mandatory vaccines for our U.S. servicemen and women. I want to get your thoughts on this because, like I just said, I know you're a veteran. You served honorably, and what do you think about this move? Do you think it's appropriate? Do you think
it's a total political move, my friend? This is what this is. It ain't got nothing to do with combat readiness, because that's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say that our number one goal is to make sure all soldiers and all servicemen are healthy, servicewomen are healthy and ready to fight, and this is part of that goal. That's what they're gonna say. But this is a political move. I wouldn't be surprised if Biden told Secretary of Defense, I forgot his name. It escapes me. But I wouldn't be surprised if the order came straight from Biden to try to influence other normal people who can't be told to take it, to take it. And 50% of the Army right now is vaccinated. 50%. Which is a lot. That's about 500,000, about 500,000 people in the Army and the Reserves and National Guard. Half of them are already vaccinated. There's gonna be some casualties in this. There's gonna be some soldiers who still refuse. And the thing about the government and the military, you sign your life over on a piece of paper, and if you say no to them about anything in life, they can ruin that life. So most soldiers are going to be like, look like I got to take it. They give soldiers and servicemen and women about 20 vaccines anyway when they come in the military. I stood in a long line, got about 20 shots in my ass, and it's nothing you can do. You signed the paperwork. You got to get the shots. So this is just going to join that all those shots they make you get anyway. Malaria, anthrax, everything. I'm not going to go down the list, but it's a political move. They're trying to influence the greater public at large to do this by making all soldiers do it because they can.
Do you think that once this vaccine gets FDA approval, and this is a question for both of you, of course, and for the audience who's watching, feel free to chime in as well. I see a lot of comments. Shout out to Brandon for dropping some comments, and I'll try to get to some of these in a few minutes here. But do you think that once this vaccine gets FDA approval, that more people will begin to acknowledge that maybe it is a safe vaccine, that maybe it should be treated the same way as, let's say, the mumps vaccine, or I know there's there's a whole one like diphtheria, I think that's what it's called, and polio and all this and that, like all of these other mandatory vaccines that you need to get, right? Whether it's enlisting in the Army, getting into a school, for per district requirements or whatever. If it gets FDA approval, is it going to be more socially acceptable for people? Wyatt, I'll start with you on this one, just because I know, I know, Julius, you just got done telling us about your history here in the military. So, Wyatt, what do you think? I mean, is this are we heading down that path?
It's crazy because I have some friends that they'll post stuff about not taking a vaccine, never having their children take a vaccine. They're anti-vaxxers. And I feel like there will be some people that will, okay, well, the FDA approved it, I'm going to take it. But then there's going to be some people that say, well, the FDA rushed it to approve it, because a lot of times it takes 1 to 2 years, maybe even more, for them to approve something. And there's been push for them to approve it, what I've been following. And so everyone's saying it's going to happen soon, within this month of August, that they're going to approve it. So I feel like you will get some people that are on board, but a lot of people are going to say it was rushed to approve it. And one of my things, and maybe I don't know, I'm thinking about this, is like, can you call it a vaccine, or can you just call it like a shot? Because like when you get like the polio vaccine, you only have to take it once and then you're good. But like, can you just call it a shot? Because like the flu shot, you got to take that seasonally. So would you call the COVID vaccine just a shot? Because now they're saying you got to get a booster. So I'm thinking like it's going to be a yearly thing. So can you really call it a vaccine if you can still get COVID and you still have to take it to kind of minimize your symptoms or how harsh it treats people's immune system? So that's another question on my mind, if you can call it a vaccine. And again, there's going to be some people that take it. I know some people that are waiting for the FDA to approve it. So I think you'll get more people on board with it.
I totally 100% agree with one of the comments that came in here when you were talking, Wyatt, about the Food and Drug Administration being the most evil, corrupt organization in government. That is so true, because if I can bet you $100 million that if it wasn't for the FDA, marijuana would have been legal years ago.
Racist.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I wasn't going to
Got a
go
little
down.
bit Tourette's right now, guys.
Yeah.
Racist.
That's why marijuana is illegal, because of racism in the FDA.
I wasn't going to go down that. I wasn't going to go
Legal in
that
New Mexico
deep into
now. It's legal
What's
in
up?
New Mexico now, man.
Oh, next week on the show, guys, Wyatt's going to come on here soaking a fat blunt like this.
You can smoke. You can have up to like 2 grams or something in your house.
I understand why it's so much better now.
Yeah. The FDA designated marijuana more dangerous than meth, Brandon says. I do not know the accuracy of that statement. I'm not saying Brandon's lying. I just don't know. I don't. They did that so they could sell drugs.
But you know what? Real quick, I don't think the FDA approving it is necessarily going to make a bunch of people run to the vaccine. I think time is the biggest factor here. People are legitimately waiting to see if everybody just don't start falling dead in a year from now. I'm dead serious about that. Some people really believe that they just don't know, this thing got pushed too quickly and they don't know what the effects of it are going to be. All right. It's kind of like the newest generation of children, how they had phones and tablets in their face their whole life. We don't know what it's going to affect them like until they're a little bit older. And so people are waiting. Time is a big factor in this.
You're right. It's time will tell. It's interesting because look at the historical milestones that we've had, right, when it comes to vaccines in this country. I always think about specifically the polio vaccine and Dr. Oh my God, what was his name? James. Was it James Polk? No, James Bark. I forget the name of the doctor who created the polio vaccine. Right? Was there this much resistance to that in the 1954 when it came out? I think it was in 1954, right? The flu vaccine, right? The flu vaccine was killing millions of people. I mean, not the flu vaccine, the flu, right? The 1918 flu pandemic, right? Obviously, I don't think the COVID pandemic got to that point, but was there this much resistance to
the difference, Juan, between
what is the
COVID
difference?
and polio and the flu?
Yes.
Those diseases were taking out kids by the millions, just like the adults. Mm-hmm. If COVID was taking out our kids, I would have got the shot on the first day it came out. You know what I'm saying? Because when you can't lose the future, okay? You can't lose the future. This thing is something that negatively affects, more often than not, older immunocompromised people, 70 or older, 75 or older.
Or obese people.
And even them, or prior complications, and even them got a 99.5%. People 70 and older, if you get COVID, you have a 99.5% chance of surviving it.
What about the COVID Delta variant now? People are.
Well, they're starting to say that kids are going, or a lot more kids hospitalizations are coming down in Texas and Florida, and where these spikes going in Arkansas. I think there's like 50 kids hospitalized right now, which is a lot for COVID. So maybe that'll push the point a little bit more. But when kids are involved with these deadly, sad pandemics and diseases, it ain't, people stop playing around, because that's our future, and we can't put the kids at danger. You don't want to put the senior citizens at danger. You don't put nobody at danger. But at the same time, with this vaccine, they pushed it so fast that, and the survival rate is so high that it gives people opportunity to want to wait.
Yeah, I also think that just so much false information is being spread around, about the vaccines, and it's that just makes it so much harder. In my opinion, right? Just makes it so much harder for people to get factual information, and it also doesn't help that the government, has flip flopped a lot in the past, few months or so about the vaccine, and when it comes to mask wearing as well. Just all that, just how much goes into that too. Juan is the real MVP tonight because the coverage deserves a victory chug. Yes, all the tornado warnings in Chicagoland have expired, so that is where that comment is coming from. So another hard day of work is complete. So thank you, Nick, for that. I do appreciate you, and I'm glad you're safe. You and your family are safe as well. But yeah, so much just information, from Dr. Fauci, and just the inconsistencies and what messages are being brought to the general public, right? Having them, oh, you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to mask up. To a few weeks later, you have to mask up again because there's this variant out there, or whatever's happening. There's only so much that people are going to be willing to do. And I'm not saying this from the perspective of, an anti-vaxxer or someone who has been spewing conspiracies about COVID for the past year. I haven't been doing that. All right. I took all my precautions. I masked where I needed to. I never hesitated. Did what I needed to do. I still mask up at work because I have to, and I'm not complaining about it. I did my due diligence. I literally signed up for the vaccine as soon as it came out. I took my entire family to get the vaccine. We did our due diligence with the hope that we would be able to get out of it. And that has not been the case. Now we're getting told to mask up again. Whose fault is it? Well, it could be maybe those people who haven't gotten the vaccine's fault, right? It could be the fact that this virus has mutated into a different strain now that we're calling the Delta variant or whatever it's called. What are you supposed to do? Like, seriously, what are you supposed to do as a human being who has done everything right, at least in the government's eyes? And now it feels like we're taking, instead of taking a step forward, we're getting yanked back, and that's not cool.
Can I blame somebody real quick?
No, you're not going to blame anyone. And
I just want to thank.
You can blame someone, Julius. Why you can blame someone?
The Chinese Communist Party. That's it. That's all. I want to thank the Chinese Communist Party for letting this pandemic happen to all of us. Thank you, China. Thank you. You're so gracious.
Here's the thing: is it's funny, and a lot of people aren't taking it because they mistrust what's going on. When they were pushing for the vaccine when Trump was in office, you heard Cuomo, you heard Harris, you heard Biden say they would never take a vaccine that was made or produced by Trump or anything like that. They wouldn't trust it. Now that they have the power, now they're saying take the vaccine. Now they're mandating it because not everyone else is taking it. I guarantee if Trump was still in office, they would be saying Trump was a communist, he was a dictator if he starts mandating the vaccine. They're only pushing their narrative. I'm not saying I'm against the vaccine or for it, but that's how it works. They've always pushed their narrative. I guarantee Trump was in office, mandating this for the military, mandating it for government employees, they would be calling him a dictator in the media. And that's the problem. People mistrust the government. They're wishy-washy.
I mean, the government has always been horrible, of course, right? I have always advocated for a smaller government for this reason, because it's just the government is full of bureaucracy, and bureaucracy does not get us anywhere, and it's slow. The only thing that this pandemic proved to me is that the government is incapable of leading anything, really. Just everything, that the way that everything just happened. And you know what made it even worse? The fact that this all happened during an election year. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Because 2020, we all knew it was going to happen. We all knew it was going to be a very tumultuous year. Even before COVID, right? Because this election, orange man bad, get him out of office, that the whole narrative, which whatever, that happened. Adding a whole freaking global pandemic to the mix did not help anything, because on top of battling it out between the two main parties in this country, now you have the president in office who's already hated. Just oh my god, it all happened at such a bad time, and
they politicized it.
It was politicized. It was abused. I mean, it was a mess, and it still
was refusing the vaccine. Our vice president, she was refusing it on national television. Why? Because Donald Trump was the president of the United States. That tells you right there why all of this failed in the first place. And Fauci, he ain't nothing but a celebrity.
Julius only unmutes his mic to come in, like, make a rapid point.
Thanks, China. Thank you.
Why, do you have any final points on this? I don't want to dig too deep into the rabbit hole, because you know what ends up happening with a lot of these conversations is that we start to dig, and then we eventually start coming up into like the conspiracy section of the conversation, and we're not going to get into it because I really don't want to do conspiracies, and it's just not. We're not going.
The comments booming with them right now. The comments is booming with this right now. But listen, the pandemic is the reason the election. It was politicized for a reason, because guess what? It destroyed the economy, and a lot of people died. And that gave, when you could blame death and lack and losing money on an individual running for president, it's a hell of a weapon. It's a hell of a weapon. And Joe Biden, I'm not telling you to thank China. I'm just saying, thank China.
Mm-hmm. Miss Porter, thank you for dropping in. I don't think I recognize that name, so I'm glad that we have a new viewer.
That's my lovely sister.
Hi, Tanya. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hi, I'm Julius's friend.
Yeah. Wade Cornelius is saying, Julius, call out China again.
Thanks, China. I'll call them out forever.
I think I did the
same thing last episode. I just wanted to thank them for everything they've done for our great country.
All right. Wyatt, any last points before we switch over to sports? Because we have a lot to talk about in sports.
No.
Okay. All right. We're 38 minutes into the episode tonight. Of course, remember that we are brought to you, sponsored in part by One Call Tech. And, oh, man, what a week in sports, guys. Everything from a controversy out with the Rockies and the word that may have been or may not have been said, which we are not going to repeat on our live air, to the Olympics, men's basketball bringing home the gold. So happy. Shout out Zach LaVine, Chicago Bull, for being on the USA team and getting to see, seeing him with the gold medal. I mean, it was just, it's truly an honor. One of those moments where you're just happy, you're proud to be an American. I think the United States ended up leaving with the most gold championships. I think they ended up beating out China, I think, by maybe one or two of those medals, if I'm not mistaken. One. What?
Sorry, I just had to laugh.
You are so unbelievably petty tonight, Julius. Jesus Christ.
I think we had 118 medals, and we beat them by 1 gold medal. We beat everybody in all the medal category.
It is such a beautiful thing.
113.
Yes. It is such a beautiful thing. And again, let it just be known that I am so proud of my country. I am proud of the United States. I'm proud of the athletes, all of the Americans who went out there and represented our country to the highest degree. Thank you. And the Olympics, of course, are always a special occasion that obviously don't come around every single year. So it's always a pleasure to watch when you can. And yeah, long live America. God bless the United States. And again, that game with the men's basketball championship, that was really the one that I was so adamant about, because again, Zach LaVine going out there and just ending the game with a massive dunk on the other side of the court, guys. That was just the frosting up on the cake, and I'm so happy to see that. But what I want to ask you guys, though, what is the sport that you guys like to watch the most in the Olympics? If you could pick one sport, what's the sport that you guys look forward to the most?
You want me to go? We'll go ahead.
Yeah, because Julius is still thinking about it.
Okay, I watch a lot of Olympics. Like I always have it tuned in. I'll record stuff if I'm busy. I like watching volleyball, the sand volleyball, the indoor volleyball. Of course, I love watching basketball, men's, women's, the swimming. I watch it all, man. Especially the ones that the U.S. are, really good at. I'll watch. Like the diving stuff is always fun, but the U.S. never wins in the diving. But I love that, and it's crazy how when you're watching U.S. basketball, you're rooting for all the players. Like you might like LeBron James, I don't really care for. If he was on the U.S. team, I'm rooting for him because he's representing the U.S. basketball team. It's crazy how you might hate somebody when you're during the NBA season, like, oh, I hate that player. But when they're playing for the U.S. basketball team representing your country, you're like rooting for the hell out of them. So I definitely love all the Olympic sports. It's crazy. There was a 17-year-old from Seward, Alaska, a small town of 2,000 to 3,000 people, that won Olympic gold. And it's funny because I swam at the same indoor pool that she swam in high school. It's not even an Olympic-sized pool. It's half. It's 50 meters, 25 meters. I'm sorry. And I swam at the same pool that she would practice in. And she was 17 years old, won a gold individual. I don't remember the relay, and then won the relay race as well with the women. So it's pretty crazy just to watch stuff and be a part of that, and rooting for USA in all the sports. I do enjoy the Olympics a lot. I enjoy the track. The Jamaican women on the track field are just ridiculously fast, and all three of them won gold, silver, and bronze. So you enjoy watching different countries and how they excel in certain sports. It's pretty cool. I always enjoy the Olympics, even the Winter Olympics. I always enjoy watching that stuff. So that's a long answer to a short question.
I mean, you literally could have just said you just enjoy watching everything, and then we could have gotten it over with. I really like watching the volleyball, actually. The volleyball is probably one of my the funner ones. I do recall. I think it was the U.S. and Cuba. They were going up against each other, I think, over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And I was watching that, and I was like, wow, like this gets really intense. The volleyball, and you always hear like the screaming. You're like like the in the middle of the match. But yeah, volleyball. Of course, my love for basketball, as I've already said. The sport that I didn't watch any baseball. I know there was baseball being played, and I wasn't able to catch it because a lot of those games were like in the middle of the night. I mean, it'd be like 3, 4 in the morning, and they're just playing, and I'm like, come on, guys, like I can't, I have to work at 6 in the morning. I have to get up for work. Can't stay up till 5 in the morning to watch. You get an hour of sleep, and then But yeah, baseball, I would totally watch if that was here now. I think the Olympics are coming back to the United States in the next few years, if I'm not mistaken. So
We're going to ban China, right, Julius?
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God. Here we go. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
And listen, I got a good explanation for this. First of all, let me get this out the way. I like watching track and field the most because, and it's the sprints, the 800, the 400, the 100-meter dash, because I grew up. My fondest memories of watching the Olympics growing up. My grandmother was a sprinter. I have sprinters in my family, and watching that quick 10-second burst of going for gold. America is always Carl Lewis, Michael Johnson, and I loved Usain Bolt, his run that he had for Jamaica. I just always loved the track and field aspect of the Olympics. Now, yes, the Olympics are in Los Angeles in 2028, and China, if you don't want to come, just don't show up because and you know what's funny? The Chinese government was on Twitter talking mad cash money because they led the gold medal count for damn near the whole way, all the way to the end until America overtook them. And China is such a salty. They're salty just like me. But as far as the Olympics, they were in Tokyo this year. They're going to be in Paris in a few years. LA after that. I think these Olympic Games, they need to start putting them in places that need it, places that will benefit from the economic plus of having Olympic Games in your city. And I'm very salty.
Where?
I'm very salty because it's a known fact that the city with the most second place bids, where they were the second city that didn't they were the first city that didn't get chosen, is Detroit. We've been blazed 6 times by the Olympic Committee, and Olympic Games in Detroit could have did so much for our city when they didn't pick us in 1932. They didn't pick us in 1946. They didn't pick us in 1952. They didn't pick us in 1968 because we just had the riots. They didn't pick us in 1996. They went to Atlanta. Go to Detroit. Have the Olympic Games in Cleveland.
You want to know where the Olympics were in 1968? Do you know where they were in 1968?
Buenos Aires.
Nope.
Mexico City.
It wasn't
Did I
Mexico.
get it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And let me just tell you. Sorry, really quickly. No. I'm not gonna troll Detroit. I promise you. This is not.
Okay.
I'm not taking a shot at Detroit. This is actually like an educational segment here because you mentioned the riots of '68 in Detroit. About 2 weeks before the Olympics showed up in Mexico City, there had been a massacre called the Tlatelolco Massacre of 1968 in Mexico City. This massacre was basically the culmination of months of student protest against police brutality in the city. The media in Mexico did such a good job of covering up any form of evidence, and basically the Olympics happened like nothing ever happened. The president of Mexico went out there, publicity stunt, hello, waving all around. The massacre itself happened on October 2nd, 1968. The reason I know so much about this is because my senior thesis in undergrad was an entire year-long study on this case. The day that the massacre happened in that square, it rained. It rained and rained and rained. And the bodies were piled up. The blood was running down the blocks. And there were so many bodies that they had to basically carry them off in citywide garbage trucks because they had to get them out of the way because the Olympics were coming to Mexico City. And there could not be any evidence left of the bloodshed that had occurred just a few days before. So Detroit may not have gotten picked, Julius. Mexico City got the chip that year. But I can tell you right now that they sure as hell, I don't think, deserved it after all the stuff that happened, especially leading up into the Olympics of that year, because this whole thing stemmed from a few things back in July of '68, and it just kept culminating and culminating until that day in October. So
That is an amazing historical point to be made about those Olympics that I did
yeah,
not.
the '68 Olympics, and in 1968 was a horrible year all around the world. I mean, there were people getting murdered and killed, and riots everywhere. They had Mexico City, there was Paris, Chicago, Detroit. I mean, I don't know if LA was going through anything.
MLK assassination.
Yeah, MLK had been killed. The Vietnam War was happening. There was, and a lot of these protests from '68, right? The reason the president was going after the protesters, is because he thought that a lot of them were communist insurgents. Well, yeah, there were Marxists, obviously students who were following Marxist ideology, but that wasn't the case. People just wanted to not get shot by police officers. These kids were just protesting, basic, just like wages and all that, this and that. But again, that's a whole other historical tangent that I don't want to get into. But yes, that is where the 1968 Olympics went.
Yeah, I just wish that it got spread around a little better, all of that. And the Olympics would be better without the division that our world and our country is currently under. So it's a big the Olympics fall into the political division just as much as anything else. And you see me blazing China, you don't hear me, oh, we need to come together with China during the Olympics because of the pandemic. No, I blame them for it.
You're so salty. You're so salty, but it's fine. I'm not gonna. I don't judge. You have your own thoughts. But no, that I'm glad we could squeeze in a little historical fact in there too, a little historical context for you all. But Adam Raymer says, "What's up, fellas?" Yes, what is going on, Adam? Thank you for tuning in tonight. Brandon says, "Have the Olympics in Tijuana?" No, we are not going to do that. We are not going to have the Olympics up in Tijuana. Probably not for the best. I love Tijuana. I've heard good things about the city. It's gotten better.
Plus, it has your name in the.
Okay, and that is where we move on to our next topic.
Oh, can I give a shout out to Allison Felix, the most decorated track and field athlete in the United States history? Shout out to her for winning 11 gold medals. That's a record. Shout out to her.
Absolutely. There's your shout out for the night, courtesy of the Wyatt Cornelius at the Cornelius.
Allison Felix, follow me at the Cornelius 7.
The Cornelius. Shameless plug. Let's get into tailgating and state fair fun. I don't want to talk too much about myself, but I'll just get this out there right away. Oh my God, I had an amazing time at the state fair last night. I won a Pikachu. No, the Pikachu will not make an appearance tonight, unfortunately. He's in my other room. The only thing I have in here right now is a minion. This guy, I think I won. No, I don't know if I won this guy. I think it was a gift. Oh, my sister gave this to me, actually. I'm a huge Minions guy. That's something that a lot of people don't know about me, but Minions. And yes, Adam points out the chicken on a stick. Yes, I had a whole chicken breast on a stick last night, marinated in sweet and sour sauce. Some of the best freaking food you will get is at the Wisconsin State Fair. If you are looking for something, you will find it. Okay? Mexican food, Asian food, Greek food, good old Wisconsin American food, cheese curds, fried cheese curds, deep fried Oreos, pickles, anything you can. Did you get some cheese for your underwear? Underwear packer?
I'm glad you got that, Julius. You should use that as your background.
So I'm gonna put the minion down because I see I'm getting attacked, so I got to get my fist ready. All right. To the comments about the undercover Packer fan, F off, number one. Okay, Brandon, I am not a Packer fan. Two, hammer drunk. I did consume a very large amount of seltzers yesterday, actually. Not beer. I didn't really have that much beer, except for the one that I chugged. I had a lot of seltzers. It was 93 degrees out. It was hot. It was humid. I needed something refreshing. I won my Pikachu. had my Vizzy in my other hand, and I was good to go all night. It was great. Right? That's all I'm going to say about the state fair. I can go on and on about this, but yes, the deep fried food, the foot-long hot dogs, the fried frog legs, and the this little bugs that they sell, like deep fried. Amazing. Amazing. Let's talk. I want to talk tailgating though, guys. This is our last topic of the night, and of course, tailgating is a big thing that's done at baseball parks. Of course, as you both know, I am always at the ballpark, always looking to tailgate. But football season is coming up, and of course, there's always plenty of tailgating. Whether it is tailgating at Soldier Field, getting thrown through a table at the Bill Stadium. I don't know, whatever you guys do in the toilet over there, if you guys even do tailgating. Tailgating is such a beautiful thing, coming together with fellow fans and fellow family members. Julius is laughing at his team because he knows they're garbage.
Listen, Detroit is a great tailgate. By the way, the Lions games, right before the Lions games outside the stadium, is the best time of the whole day.
Hey, I heard the Lions quarterback sucks worse than Andy Dalton.
Who said that?
Brandon said that.
No, Andy Dalton is really trash. He's gonna start for y'all week 1.
There's playoff. There's preseason football coming up, and I believe the Lions are playing who?
The Bills. Tamarika Porter, do not laugh at the toilet.
The toilet.
That is not the name of our city, even though some parts do look like the inside of a toilet that was just used.
White Sox scored a touchdown. I'm seeing from Adam Kudos and YouTube. The Lions are going to go get beat by Mitch Trubisky again.
Oh, in the preseason? That's going to be funny, right? He probably lost about 4 touchdowns on our head for old time's sake.
Mitch Trubisky is our father.
Just for that statement alone, I want the Lions to desecrate Mitch Trubisky in the preseason on Friday. I hope we destroy his whole career. I hope they release him after we're done with him. That's how much I hate that quote from the great Tony Dombrowski on Twitter.
Father.
Found some Detroit Lions tailgating. It's one guy out there by himself.
Laugh, guys. Laugh at the Lions. Laugh at the Lions. Laugh.
Quiet. That was so out of pocket, dude. You really had to find the video.
I was like Googling it. Like,
oh, I can't wait for the season to start so we can beat y'all and y'all can shut up.
Nah, man, we got Justin Fields, man.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Y'all got Justin Fields.
Soldier Field. That is a sick shirt. I'm going to get a screenshot of that when the recording is over because I like that a lot. Okay. We're going to go around the room. If you're watching in the comments right now, which I do see there's plenty of you guys watching, your favorite tailgate food, baseball game, football game, wherever it may be, you're out at a tailgate. What is your go-to? What do you always have to have at the tailgate? No, alcohol does not count. This has to be actual food. Because if it's alcohol, I mean, I can go on and on. I'm going to go first. This is going to be really obvious. Beer bratwursts.
You said no beer involved.
Okay, but this is okay, but they're already pre-season or already made in the package. All right, Wyatt, so back off. Wings. We got wings. All right, we got wings, beer, and beer brats. All right. Julius, you're up. What's your go-to?
In the spirit of my great city that y'all been trashing for the last 5 minutes, I love Coney dogs. Right, hot off the grill with a little bit of relish, a little bit of ketchup, maybe sprinkle some chili cheese on it. Speaking of chili cheese, have some chili cheese fries on the side. Perfect. Also, shout out to my sister. Those good old buffalo wings is good too, boy. You can't beat them right there. And it's cold in Detroit too. You need something warm.
Really quickly before Wyatt goes, I'm not gonna roast you. I actually have a genuine question. What are those? You said Comey dogs?
A Coney dog, yes. It's a Detroit specialty. It's pretty much a pimped out hot dog with a lot of great toppings on it. Some people, like I said, relish, ketchup, onions, chili, smothered. and you just eat about 3 or 4 of them. We have these things called Coney Islands in Detroit, like on the corner. It's like little diners on the corner where you can go get a chili dog for $1.99, chili cheese fries, and a ice cold Fago.
Wow, I'll have to try one next time I'm up in the city. Honestly, I'll have to go. Yeah. All right,
so we got downtown too.
All right, so we got wings, we got dogs, we got. Oh God, what did I say? I don't even know what I said now. Oh, beer. The beer bratwurst. Wyatt, your tailgate go-to.
Yeah, Julius's sister just laughed at you for
What are
not knowing what coney dogs.
Well, she knows. That's because she's not used to people asking, "What are conies?"
I don't.
We have conies here in New Mexico, so I'm familiar with them.
Yeah, they spread out around the nation, and we even got a Coney Island down here.
I'm just used to Chicago dog. That's all I know. But anyway, go ahead, Wyatt.
Mine is jalapeno poppers. Gotta have them.
Ooh.
Jalapenos with cream cheese and cheese wrapped in bacon.
Y'all making me hungry, man. Y'all making me hungry.
Some good stuff.
You know, that's really interesting because you don't like when you think of tailgates, right? You think of like your burgers, your brats, the hot dogs, and all this and that. But then you start getting into more of like, some would say exotic, right? Obviously it's not, but you know, some would say more a non-typical jalapeno poppers. We got Adam in the comments dropping ribs. Brandon just dropped one in there. Wyatt, if you want to pull that comment up for the audience to see. Pork steak barbecue on the grill. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys, you can go out there. Hell, a few weeks ago, we were out there making tacos in the middle of the tailgate. You know, we had our whole setup. We had salsa, green, red salsa. We had chorizo. We had skirt steak. We had warm tortillas, cilantro, onions, of course, Jello shots. Right? You can't not have Jello shots at my tailgates. That's like a staple, you know. So if we ever tailgate, guys,
hey, I have a whole tray of them ready to go.
Yeah,
I'll have the shot without the Jello.
Was a staple.
I'll have the shot without the Jello.
The shot without the Jello. So Wyatt will be lit in both ways. He'll be high and he'll be drunk.
Walking around with a big blunt sticking out his mouth.
I'm straight edge, guys. I don't smoke.
I'm proud of you. I don't believe you.
I am the least stoner you've ever met in your entire life. Why?
No comment. I have nothing against the cannabis at all. Just let that be.
Do you guys? Okay, here's a question for you guys, real quick. Do you guys do desserts at tailgates, or is it just normally food?
No, normal food.
No.
Uh-huh.
It's you got to have some beef and you got to have some beer. So I don't think dessert mixes well with like drinking.
You're gonna be throwing up cheesecake in the concourse if you decide you want to give me a slice of it in between like 10 beers. No. Sweets until after.
Juan is the only guy with that name in the world that doesn't smoke weed. Jesus.
That's a good point, Brandon. That's Juan's are famous stoners. It's a famous stoner name.
Well, I can go on and on about why I don't.
That's racist, Brandon.
Why you also have a stoner's name as well?
No, I have a cocaine name, bro.
All right. Well, that's you know, I think that tops that other comment he made a few years ago, Julius, if you know what I'm referencing.
Were you guys at the podcast?
Yes, yeah.
That's an all-time great comment, Wyatt. Right.
No, it's bad.
We're gonna bring that up forever.
No, we're not gonna repeat it on here.
Okay, the drug.
Oh, Brandon, final comment to read. I love you, Juan, and Brandon is a meth name. I would say Brandon's a crack name, honestly. But that's just me. You know, I don't know. That escalated quickly.
Drugs Incorporated on the Lounge Room Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of On Point Discussion for tonight. Oh God! Wow, that really did escalate quickly, guys. I don't even know how we got into weed and talking about hard drugs. That is not. We do not condone drug use. Don't do drugs, kids. They're bad. They're bad for you. The Cornelia 7 at the 5th top, Wyatt and Julius, respectively. Yours truly at Lounge Room Prez 1. I see Wyatt is still playing with his little bouncy ball. That's cute, Wyatt. Very
for the
cute.
withdrawals. Those for the withdrawals. He's
Yes.
going.
Mr. Soldier,
no quarterback
Mr. Soldier
withdrawals.
Fields right there on my top right screen. I love it. Love to see it. Obviously, much better than anything that Detroit will ever have, that they have already, and that they've ever had in the past.
What a
Hat
horrible
Talks,
teacher,
Hat
Wyatt.
Talks on point for the podcast at Lounge Room Net for the network page on Twitter. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook. Also, find us at On Point Discussion on there. Remember to hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods. And, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Lounge Room Network on YouTube. Gentlemen, have a great rest of your evening. Stay safe. For all of you guys down in northern Illinois who have experienced damage from these severe weather, this tornado outbreak, basically, that we have had in the past few hours, I hope that you are all well and safe. Tornado did hit about 5 minutes north of where I grew up in my childhood town. So I am still waiting to hear back, hoping no one is hurt down there. But in any case, have a great rest of your work week, everyone. We'll be back next Monday night. Until then, see you all soon. And as is customary on the show,
Go Lions.
go Bears.
Congrats, Megatron.
Go Bears.
All righty. Have a good night, guys.